Hello my friends, welcome to the Financial Prophet. I have quite the special show planned for you. Today we will discuss one of my favorite companies and possibly one of my top 5 stock investments of all time, a little company called Palantir. Just a quick disclaimer here, anything I say in this video is strictly my opinion and I am not giving any sort of financial advice, nor am I recommending the sale or purchase of any securities, including Palantir stock. You know, they say you shouldn't fall in love with companies, their stocks I mean. However, this may not always be true. Just think about GameStop, Roaring Kitty, Keith Gill is his real name. He made an absolutely incredible return, running his initial investment of just around $53,000 into a staggering $500 million fortune. So it appears that falling in love with the stock in the right way can produce incredible results. Still, I'm not Keith Gill, and I try not to fall in love with stocks. However, I must admit, I have been missing Palantir a whole lot lately. I loved Palantir stock around the $6 to $7 level in 2022 and 2023, and I continuously wrote about how cheap and how misunderstood the company was. In fact, I designated Palantir as my #1 top stock for 2023, and I remained very bullish on Palantir through its stellar run in 2024. My conviction level in Palantir was so high that I made it into my portfolio's most significant holding by far by early and mid 2023 when the stock was around its ultra low $6 to $7 range. Moreover, it remained my most significant portfolio holding until late 2024. Granted, I took a good deal of profits in Palantir in late 2024 and in 2025. I had a covered call strategy where the remainder of my shares got taken off my hands for $120. So while I made about a 2,000% return on part of my Palantir investment and approximately 1,200 to a 1,500 return on a very significant portion of my Palantir position, I see that Palantir just continues to go higher and higher. Due to Palantir's excellent recent earnings announcement, I've increased my 12-month price target to a range of $180 to $200 for the stock. However, I'm keeping my hold rating on the stock, and that's because Palantir remains extremely expensive in my view. Now, valuations can be subjective, and GameStop was arguably expensive when its market cap skyrocketed to the $20 to $30 billion plus range in 2021. Now, of course, Palantir is not GameStop, as Palantir is essentially an AI software optimization monopoly. Nonetheless, at the end of the day, valuations do matter, and Palantir stock is now in the, quote, meme stock category, in my view. So let's talk about why I believe Palantir's valuation is getting ridiculous here. I remember many people saying Palantir was expensive when its market cap was just around $15 billion. It's possible that many market participants may have misunderstood what Palantir's business really did or how it worked. It's a good thing that I understood it when the stock was in the $6 to $7 range. At its core, Palantir is essentially a monopoly, which can make any organization, government or private, foreign or domestic, more efficient and more profitable at the end of the day. But is it really a buy at any price now? Just look at how far Palantir's market cap has appreciated. So we see that it's gone from around the 15 billion range during its low time in 2022 and 2023 to over 400 billion now. I mean, this is just staggering. Now, Palantir indicated that it is raising its guidance to a sales range of about 4.14 to 4.15 billion for this year. However, this dynamic illustrates that its stock trades at approximately 100 times this year's sales estimates, which is actually pretty unprecedented for any established company in any space, and possibly ever even. So here's Palantir's full year 2025 outlook, which of course it's very nice, it's positive, but the question is it so good to push the stock up to a $500 billion market cap? Or, where's the next stop? Is it $1 trillion? when Palantir sales are still sub 5 billion annually? You know, some people say that Tesla is expensive. However, Tesla trades at only about 10 times sales. Microsoft trades at roughly 12 times sales. Alphabet is at about 6 times sales. Axon, which is essentially a police software and equipment monopoly, trades at roughly 25 times sales. Nvidia's price to sales ratio is about 20 and Snowflake's is roughly 15. So based on all of this data and other previous price to sales ratios and many other companies that I've sifted through, I am really having a challenging time finding any company that is even close to Palantir's sky-high valuation of 100 times sales, especially if it is an established company in the S&P 500. There just isn't anything there in the S&P 500 that's anywhere near as expensive as Palantir is now. Well, perhaps I should not get so hung up on the price-to-sales ratio. After all, Palantir likely has an enormous growth runway, much more extensive than most companies, which is actually where much of the premium comes from. So sales are likely to increase for many years, but still, is it worth this enormously high price? Well, it's clear that the sales growth runway is massive for Palantir, but can we really be confident predicting growth beyond the next 5 years? A lot could change in the future, and Palantir may or it may not achieve the lofty sales estimates ahead. Also, even if we implement the 2034 sales estimate, Palantir currently trades at roughly 10 times its consensus 2034 revenue range. Is that not ridiculous? Well, let's try valuing Palantir relative to its future earnings. So, Palantir's current forward P ratio is about 270. Now, even if we look out to 2027 to 2028, we're looking at a forward P ratio of approximately 100 to 150. And that's if Palantir earns towards the higher end of the analyst's range. Now, in my mind, there's almost no doubt that Palantir can deliver robust EPS growth in the coming years. But the question is, when is too high too high? When is too expensive too expensive? Also, what if there's an economic slowdown or there are company or industry specific setbacks? Palantir stock appears to be priced beyond than for perfection. It's trading at about 24 times potential 2034 earnings. Now, I recognize that in reality, earnings could be considerably higher than $7 in 2034. But then again, a lot could happen in future years. Well, maybe a PEG analysis will work. Price to earnings growth. Let's say that Palantir can beat its EPS estimates next year, and it could be trading at about 200 times next year's earnings. Let's also average out its earnings per share growth rate over the next few years to get a more accurate image of Palantir's potential valuation. Given this dynamic, Palantir's average EPS growth rate may be around 37% in the next several years. Unfortunately, this gives us a PEG ratio of about 5.4, which makes Palantir appear insanely expensive. So the bottom line here is when it comes to Palantir stock, whether you own it or not, it's really dealer's choice. Any way you slice it, Palantir stock is extremely expensive now. However, despite this dynamic, Palantir stock has essentially become the ultimate meme stock now. I have a challenging time justifying owning it at this kind of valuation. But the valuation doesn't seem to matter much when it comes to Palantir. Therefore, it's quote dealer's choice if you want to own Palantir here, and it may be suitable for some investors, as the stock could continue higher in the intermediate and long term. However, please keep in mind that there could be considerable pullbacks and volatility along Palantir's path to its potential trillion-dollar market status. I will consider repurchasing shares of Palantir if it declines to approximately the $120 to $100 range. While this may seem extreme, I've seen stranger things happen in the stock market, and Palantir remains priced for perfection here in my view. I would like to thank you all for watching my profit report. I truly hope that you enjoyed it, and more importantly, I hope that the knowledge you gain here helps you make more informed investment decisions in the future. I would also greatly appreciate hearing your comments, so please join the conversation in the comments section below. If you enjoyed my video, please click like, share, and subscribe to my channel so I can continue creating these highly informative and potentially very profitable videos for you. You can also join the Financial Profit, my exclusive investment community, which is seeking Alpha's #1 service for proven portfolio profits. So don't hesitate to join our incredible investment community now. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time, and have a wonderful day.